If Wonderfools completely took over your watch list, don't worry. The K-drama world has plenty more chaotic, funny, emotional, and ridiculously addictive shows with the same kind of vibe. Here are 10 K-dramas you need to watch if you loved Wonderfools, and where to stream them internationally. At number 10, we have The School Nurse Files.
혹시 도를 하세요?
This K-drama centers on the strangest world hiding in plain sight, inside an ordinary Korean high school. Jung Yumi plays An Yoon-young, a school nurse who can see jelly-like creatures nobody else can. Born from human emotions, hidden trauma, and forgotten energy. They swarm her new school like flies, and yes, she really does fight them with a plastic BB gun. Helping her, sort of, is Hong In-pyo, played by Nam Joo-hyuk, a Chinese language teacher with a rare protective aura that recharges Yoon-young's powers every time she touches him. He limps around the school in a leg brace, completely confused about why everything keeps trying to kill him. The visuals are unlike anything else in the genre, and Jung Yumi plays the whole thing so deadpan that the absurdity becomes the joke. 6 episodes long, streaming on Netflix. The perfect weekend rabbit hole for anyone who loved how strange Wonderfools could get. At number 9, we have strong girl Do Bong-soon.
내가 니들한테 경고하지 않았니? 요즘에 미세먼지도 많은데 니들도 이렇게 높은 쪽 공기 한번 숨쉬게 해줘? 사람이 말이야.
Park Bo-young plays Do Bong-soon, a tiny woman born with superhuman strength. A gift passed down through the women in her family for generations. The rule is simple: use it for good or lose it forever. The problem is, her strength keeps dragging her into messy, ridiculous street fights she never asked for. And then things spiral when she gets hired as a personal bodyguard. Her new employer is An Min-hyuk, a hyperactive gaming CEO played by Park Hyung-sik, being stalked by an unknown enemy. He figures out her secret almost immediately and becomes her biggest cheerleader, even as she keeps accidentally launching grown men across rooms. This must-watch series tells the story of one of the most lovable, superpowered heroines ever put on Korean TV, and Park Bo-young somehow nails the comedy and the heartbreak in the same scene. Underneath the rom-com, there's a genuinely tense kidnapping subplot. Exactly the cute but deadly mix Wonderfools fans go wild for. You can stream it on Viki or Netflix, depending on your region. Every time he saves the day, cash literally disappears from his wallet. At number 8, we have Cashero.
내 돈 써가면서 남들 눈에 안 띄게 착한 일을 하래. 어떡하지?
Imagine inheriting a superpower from your dad. Strength, speed, near invincibility, and then finding out it only works while you've got cash in your pocket. Worse, every time you use it, the money vanishes. That's the curse Lee Jun-ho carries in this one. He plays Kang Sang-eung, a quiet, painfully responsible civil servant who suddenly finds himself doing the math on whether saving a stranger is worth the rent money. This top-rated K-drama follows him through a world full of equally awkward-powered people, including a young woman played by Kim Hae-gi, whose telekinetic abilities are fueled by calories, meaning she has to binge-eat just to fight. There's also a lawyer whose power only kicks in when he's drunk. Yes, really. Lee Jun-ho brings just the right amount of nerdy, exhausted reluctance to Sang-eung, and the whole show runs on that ordinary people stuck with very inconvenient powers energy, the exact lane Wonderfools lives in. Stream it now on Netflix. At number 7, we have From Now On, Showtime.
그럼 눈 크게 뜨고 잘 찾아내십시오. 차창에 매십시오. 지금 들어갑니다.
Park Hae-jin plays Cha-Cha Wong, one of Korea's most popular stage magicians. To audiences, his illusions are world-class. In reality, they're not really tricks. He can see ghosts, and his entire stage act is powered by a crew of dead employees who haunt him out of loyalty and sometimes spite. His carefully balanced life falls apart when he meets Go Sul-hae, played by Jin Ki-ju, a rookie cop who can suddenly see his ghost too after a near-death experience. She drags him into police investigations, and his ghost crew has no choice but to follow. This series centers on a magician, a cop, and a team of dead employees solving crimes together. And honestly, the ghosts are the real heart of the show. They roast Chawon constantly, get jealous of each other, and turn every case into a workplace sitcom with murder mysteries underneath. The found family chaos is everything Wonderfools fans live for. Streaming on Viki. At number 6, we have The Atypical Family.
가만 있어요. 갈 거예요? 아 정말. 와 빠르네. 참.
할 말이 남았나?
The Box used to be a legendary family of superhumans. Grandfather had telekinesis. The aunt could fly. The mother could see the future. The eldest son could travel back in time to his happiest moments. But somewhere along the way, depression, insomnia, weight gain, and grief killed their powers one by one. Jang Ki-young plays Bok Wi-ju, the time-traveling son who hasn't been able to use his gift since his wife died, because he simply hasn't been happy in years. Chun Woo-hee plays Do Da-hae, a sharp, mysterious woman with secrets of her own. She walks into the Box lives, and slowly this broken family starts remembering what joy feels like. This K-drama tells the story of trauma the way Wonderfools told its quieter emotional beats, as the real enemy, not the supervillain in the background. One of the most emotionally honest Korean dramas of the last few years, and you can find the whole thing on Netflix. At number 5, we have Mystic Pop-Up Bar.
뭐야? 뭐지? 어이, 강배야! 여기! 들어와! 전라북도 망자 선수다.
This must-watch series follows the strangest little business on the block. Wolju, played by Hwang Jung-yoon, is a sharp-tongued spirit who's been alive for 5 centuries and is running out of time to finish her cosmic sentence. To clear it, she has to enter 100,000 people's dreams and resolve the grudges they're carrying. She drafts in Han Kang-bai, played by Yuk Sung-jae, a shy convenience store clerk with a strange ability of his own. Whenever someone touches him, they involuntarily spill their deepest secrets. Together with Chief Gui, her stern supervisor from the underworld, the three become an unlikely trio of supernatural therapists. Every case is funny on the surface and quietly devastating underneath. And Wolju's slow reveal backstory turns the whole show into something way deeper than the premise suggests, the kind of weird team with heart energy Wonderfools fans tend to fall hard for. Streaming on Netflix. He's not really a shaman, he's a criminal profiler with a smoke machine and way too much eyeliner. At number 4, we have Café Minamdang.
이놈이 아니라 너구나. 지금 제주 지사장 자리가 문제야? 이 새끼 자르고 저 자리부터 다시 뽑아. 뭐?
SEO In-guk plays Nam Han-jun, a former elite criminal profiler who left the force after a case went horribly wrong. Now he runs Café Minamdang, where by day he serves overpriced coffee, and by night he performs dramatic, theatrical shaman rituals for paying clients. His act is completely fake. His profiling skills are very real. Behind the smoke and chanting, he's using surveillance, hacking, and his team's investigative work to feed himself shockingly accurate spiritual insights. And eventually he runs into Oh Yeon-seo's character, Han Jae-hwee, a sharp homicide detective who originally wants to arrest him for fraud and slowly becomes his most useful partner. This top-rated K-drama centers on a team of misfits running the loudest investigation operation in Seoul. Seo In-guk's over-the-top shaman performances are so absurd they loop back around to incredible, and the team dynamic, fake shaman, hacker sister, loyal best friend, reluctant detective, carries that exact everyone's weird, and somehow it works energy that made Wonderfools so addictive. Available on Netflix. At number 3, we have Behind Your Touch.
다들 명심하세요. 초능력자가 누군지 찾아내는 것도 중요하지만 반대로 초능력자가 우리를 잃지 못하게 하는 것도 중요해요. 작전이 새 나갈 수 있으니까.
Yes, that's actually the premise. Han Ji-min plays Bong Ye-bun, a veterinarian in a tiny rural town who suddenly develops one of the most ridiculous psychic abilities in K-drama history. One slap on the behind, and she sees flashes of someone's past. The show absolutely knows how ridiculous it is, and then it weaponizes it. Lee Min-ki plays Moon Jang-yeol, a soul detective demoted to the countryside as punishment. He thinks Ye-bun is a fraud. Then she keeps being right. This series tells the story of an odd couple comedy that slowly tightens into a real rural thriller, as the two of them realize their sleepy town might be hiding a serial killer. Han Ji-min holds the whole tonal swing together. Chaotic and warm 1 minute, genuinely scared the next. That ridiculous power meets real stakes balance is the exact trick Wonderfools pulled off. You can catch it on Netflix. At number 2, we have the Uncanny Counter.
이상해요.
벌써 잊어먹은 거야? 아장아장 똑바로 걷는 법? 내가 다리 고쳐준다고 했잖았어.
The Counters are a secret team of demon hunters, disguised as the staff of a humble noodle restaurant called Eonnie's Noodles. Each one has a different gift: strength, healing, sensing spirits. And every single one of them lost something to evil before getting their power. Jo Byung-kyu plays So-moon, a high school student who survives the car crash that killed his parents and gets recruited into the team. He turns out to be the strongest host they've ever found. Around him is Ga Mo-tak, played by Yoo Jun-sang, a former cop with super strength who acts like the gruff older brother, plus Mei-ok, the maternal healer, and Ha-na, the sharp sister with foresight. This must-watch K-drama follows a found family of wounded people protecting strangers from monsters they can't see. And that's exactly the part of Wonderfools that wrecks people. The fights are huge, the grief is bigger. Streaming on Netflix, and finally, at number 1, we have Moving.
김봉사! 김봉사!
너 왜 왔어?
This top-rated K-drama tells the story of 2 generations of people born with extraordinary abilities, and the government that wants them all dead. Ryu Seung-ryong plays Jang Ju-won, a mini-mart owner who hides monstrous strength and impossible speed behind a cognitive disability. Han Hyo-ju plays Lee Mi-hyun, a former intelligence agent and the mother trying to keep her son's flying ability hidden from the world. Zo In-sung plays Kim Do-sik, her husband and a legendary Black Ops agent who could fly, presumed dead since their child was born. Back in the 90s, the Korean intelligence service used powered individuals as Black Ops weapons in the conflict between North and South. Now those agents have gone underground, raising their teenage children in secret, terrified the government will come looking again. The story flips between past and present, old missions, present-day high school, and just as both timelines collide, a North Korean operation arrives in Seoul with orders to take out every retired agent on the list. Moving is the show that rewrote the rules for Korean superhero storytelling. It doesn't treat powers like costumes, it treats them like inheritance. The most devastating scenes aren't the fights, they're parents staring at their kids, knowing the same gift that gave them purpose will paint targets on their children's backs. If you stayed for Wonderfools because the emotional core was bigger than the action, this is that story turned all the way up. You can stream it on Disney Plus worldwide and Hulu in the US. Season 2 picks up right after the Jongwon High School incident, with new threats already closing in. Though, because of the scale, the release is most likely landing in late 2027 or early 2028. So those are 10 K-dramas to add to your watch list if you loved Wonderfools. Drop a comment telling us which one you're watching first and which show we missed that deserves a spot on this list. Click on this next video to see the hottest and most popular ongoing K-dramas right now.